I'm Eddie Muller, welcoming you once again to Noir Alley. This week, in recognition of Black History Month, I'm presenting the film considered by many cinema scholars to be the final film of the classic noir era. From 1959, it's Odds Against Tomorrow. Harry Belafonte is not only the star, he's the producer as well. This may have been the tail end of the original noir movement, but it was the beginning of the civil rights movement. And today's movie was Belafonte's way of bringing a message about the evils of racism to the American public. While there certainly is a message in the film, it's also an incredibly suspenseful heist picture and a powerful piece of movie making. It also represents a cinematic crossroads where traditional Hollywood craftsmanship, of which director Robert Wise was a master, smacked headlong into a new kind of cinema verite approach to narrative filmmaking. In fact, this movie has a lot in common with French New Wave cinema, which was about to flourish. Odds Against Tomorrow was, in fact, one of the favorite films of French director Jean-Pierre Melville, the undisputed master of French film noir. It's based on a novel of the same name by prolific crime writer William P. McGivern. During the 1950s, his stories provided grist for several films in the genre: Shield for Murder, Rogue Cop, Hell on Frisco Bay, and most famously, The Big Heat. Odds Against Tomorrow revolves around a trio of characters familiar in classic noir: the angry, isolated war veteran, the embittered cop who goes crooked, and the decent family man grappling with a fatal vice, in this case, gambling. McGivern's twist is that the gambler, Johnny Ingram, is black, and the hatred that flares between the comrades in crime pointed to the racial turmoil that led to the civil rights movement of the 1960s, and which continues to tear at the country today, more than 60 years later. The movie is different from the book. Both are fueled by race, but the film is more ambitious, ambiguous, and angrier, thanks to the uncompromising approach taken by its producer. The popularity of Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier was a challenge to the white guys who ran show business, businessmen looking to control and exploit the actors' appeal while diffusing their blackness. Belafonte was too shrewd for that. He formed his own company, Harbell Productions, and decided that a genre thriller was the perfect way to project a harsher reality onto American movie screens. To that end, he made some bold and fearless moves. To write the screenplay, Belafonte enlisted blacklisted Abraham Polanski, who'd gone from being the Oscar-nominated writer of 1947's Body and Soul to being a political pariah within the industry due to his membership in the Communist Party of the United States. Polanski had not received a writing credit in 8 years, and he wouldn't get one on this picture either. Instead, Belafonte had his friend, John Oliver Killens, an African-American playwright and novelist, serve as Polanski's front. You'll see an additional writing credit for Nelson Gidding, who'd become a frequent collaborator with Robert Wise. In truth, Gidding merely contributed a few connective passages to the script after production had begun. When Belafonte handed McGivern's novel to Abe Polanski, his single instruction was, "Fix it." He meant the book's second half, in which Johnny Ingram and his racist nemesis, Earl Slater, end up relying on each other to survive and reach a tenuous rapprochement. The Defiant Ones, with Tony Curtis and Sidney Poitier, had played those heartstrings the previous year, but Belafonte was uncomfortable with its mawkishly sentimental ending. He wanted something hard and harsh, the ugly truth, and Abe Polanski delivered it. When Robert Wise learned the script was by Polanski, he became even more enthused about the project. He'd been disgusted by the blacklist destroying the careers of many colleagues. Wise said he felt like they were making an underground film, working in a state of clandestine guerrilla warfare to keep Polanski's involvement a secret. It wasn't until 1996 that the writer had his credit applied to the film. Another cutting-edge aspect of this film is the music, created by John Lewis and his modern jazz quartet. The score fuses a contemporary percussive sound featuring the vibraphone of the great Milt Jackson, combined with a more traditional orchestral score. It's fantastic. Back in 2009, Mr. Belafonte introduced this film at my Noir City Film Festival in celebration of the film's 50th anniversary. Now, here we are, more than 60 years since it was made, and in many ways, the film feels more timely than ever. See for yourself. Here is Odds Against Tomorrow.